Oh, good morning. Just jamming out. Good morning, Madison Million Dollar Unit. It's September. We're talking about a simple principle. Mary Kay Ash talks about. Woo, you can do everything right with the wrong enthusiasm and not get the results. And you can do everything wrong with the right enthusiasm and get all the results. I'm reminded of our senior national sales director, Anita Tripp Bruton, when she talked about her very first party and she took that starter kit and she didn't have any idea what to do. And she just turned it over and dumped it on the table. And the hostess was like, Anita Tripp, you are so bad at this. I'm going to join to help you. Her first thought was recruiting. That's easy. And that's how she thought about things. She's like, it's easy. Recruiting is easy. And so what happened was it became easy. And then she just went on to mess up at the skincare class. I mean, she put on something before another thing. I've done that before too. And it's how you handle it. My daughter just started acting. She's junior in high school, been afraid to do it all this time. And she got a lead in the play, first audition, just yesterday. And one of the things was she went in and she just played full out. And she just had a really good time. She's decided she was just going to play full out. She prepared, but she also just played full out. And there she was getting this deal. And in acting, we talked about it as I used to be the lead in the plays in high school and so forth. And I was like, it doesn't matter that you miss your line as much as it matters that the audience knows you missed your line, because the audience has no idea. Your co-actors know, but the audience has no idea. And so how you judge, how you just roll with it, how you just have fun with it when you make a mistake, that's what makes an awesome actress. And that's what makes an awesome business owner. How you roll with it. That's what makes an awesome life. How do you roll with it? I was just interviewed yesterday about mega life changes and how you handle that and what are some of the benefits? Well, one of the benefits is that you literally get to reinvent and uncocoon and shed to become new, bigger wings. You know, life allows that. Nature does that. And we try to avoid the pruning. Why? We're avoiding the growth. He asked me, what's the best piece of advice I've ever gotten on my journey? And it was my first adult advice that I received from God. It was literally a walk I had in the back of a hotel I used to run. Walked out of that hotel just bawling, crying, just, oh, I was the assistant general manager. My housekeeping manager was he was just pissed. He was no good. He was purposefully no good. And my general manager just had some like boys club with him or something. It was just maddening. And I walked out and I was just sobbing. I didn't want anybody to see I was mad. And so I started just walking, walking, walking. And I was in a neighborhood and I suddenly heard this voice. And the voice said, life is so much bigger than the moment you're living in right now. Life is so much bigger than the moment you're living in right now. It's true. It's the best piece of advice. Think of your life from 5 years ago. And then how about 5 years before that? And then how about 5 years before that? Life is so much bigger than the moment you're living in right now. And you can reinvent to be something else at any point you decide to be something else. Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool? And So then I'm going to share with you the process of reinventing. What is the process of reinvention? I was downloaded a meditation from God, this life cycle. There's a cycle to change. Just following just the pattern of life is the cycle of change. And the first step to anything that does not feel like it's aligning with you or working for you or getting you what you want is to get curious, to give yourself permission to have childlike curiosity where nothing is judged and everything is possible for you. And you have conversations and you look behind curtains that you would not have looked at. And then new possibilities are revealed to you, things that you never considered for yourself or were never even aware of. And then the next step is messy adolescence. This is the reason most people don't change because it's going to be messy for a little while. It's going to be awkward. You're not going to recognize yourself. Other people aren't going to recognize you. Yeah, it is called messy adolescence. But guess what? You're fully alive during that process. Fully alive. If you feel messy and you're Mary Kay, you get to get curious. What are other people doing now? And get fully alive in being awkward and messy with it. Now, if you decide this stage, this place I didn't really like anymore, then go back to curiosity. Go back to curiosity and then come back to messy adolescence. Now, here's the cool thing after messy adolescence. Messy adolescence comes purposeful adulthood. So, like when I was first starting out, I didn't know how to do any of this stuff. I did it like just shooting in the winds, you know? And then I met my mentor, Julie, who became my adopted sales director. And Julie really knew how to do a skincare class. And I followed Julie and I helped Julie for no pay, of course. I emptied her trunk and I unloaded the trunk and I set the tables and I cleaned up. And I was her girl Friday. And I would tape record it and I would go home and I would write down everything Julie said. And then I went through my messy adolescent stage. I was trying her stuff. I was just at first, and then I went into purposeful adulthood. Okay, this is what I want to do. I just kept repeating it, executing it until I got into maturity. And people identified me as it. I identified myself. It took little energy to do. It was just like gliding. It was just like riding a bike. What do you do that feels like it's riding a bike? What do you do? It feels like it's just like riding a bike. It just is you. Well, it shows that you're capable of being. Everyone has some stage in their life cycle, whether it's your body, your business, your money, your relationships, whatever it might be, that you're in maturity. And then there's parts that you're in depth, and shedding is required. So when the confusion stops you, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Just get curious. Just start to get curious. Just pull back curtains, have conversations, look around, give yourself an opportunity to find out what's being done that you didn't know about. Mhm. I'll tell you each one of the main instances in my life that caused reinvention and the lesson from it. And round one was in my late 20s. Round one in my late 20s, I missed my mark to become a sales director. I had to resubmit 3 times. I went through DIQ. And that one broke me to my knees, and I've had a fear of failure. And that lesson was get up one more time. The formula to never fail is to simply get up one more time than you've fallen down. So that was lesson number one on the journey to change. Lesson number two was in business in Mary Kay. And I had to learn that barreling through was not the most important piece of success. I was exhausting myself. It was the power in the pause. listening to my subconscious whispers of fear and self-doubt and not enoughness, and finding something outside of my own voice that would speak to that fear. Mine was the fear of being the almost made it girl. So I memorized a phrase from Og Mandino, the greatest salesman in the world: I will persist until I succeed. And I memorized that, and I looked to my pupil where your soul is, where you can access your soul. And I would tell it who it be with this verse over and over and over again until that feeling comes, that feeling where you start to feel like, okay, I can do this. I can, oh, woo, that feeling, that tingling in your body. And then I would go to work. But that pause can take 30 seconds. It can take 2 minutes, and your whole vibration changes. It takes you from a push to a flow. It aligns you with what it is that you want, because we are energy, and so is everything around us. So change your vibrational frequency and change your life. The power in the pause. Round 3 was a body crash. I had an adrenal crash from a misprescribed prednisone drug, literally paralyzed for a short amount of time, literally. And in that time frame, I had to work with homeopaths and doctors for 3 years. I lost my ability to just push through and take advantage of my body. And I learned to respect the foundation of the body. Any change that you want, you have to have the energy to do it. Your body is the place your soul gets to dance in. So feed your soul and you feed your life. Feed your body and you feed your soul to feed your life. Respecting the body. Starting with the body. It's the vessel to take you there. Without your body, you can only go as far as your imagination, right? I experienced that. So I began to add in principles of taking care of my body. Like right now, I'm not drinking coffee. I'm drinking hot lemon water, apple cider vinegar, cayenne pepper, dash of salt, adding to the hydration in my body, and some ginger pod. That just flushes and resets in the morning for me. Round 4 was learning to burn the bridge. I was becoming a national sales director. It looked bleak, did not. There was no rationale of why it should have come together. I'd had my son right before that, and he was born with silent acid reflux and a broken collarbone, and he was catching his breath like this. I mean, like not breathing in between breaths. And when your baby can't breathe, you're not going to do anything else but put everything aside. And then when we got back, when he was good, picked up that business, I had 2.5 more weeks to go. And people would come, and when they would come, I changed my tracking board to victory board. What energy are you putting out there? And then we would look, and I wrote on there, including other things, God made this so big so that if we ever doubted him, we'd be forced to see that he had been there all along. And so each person that came in to help, God bless them, we would look at that board together to get them in the vibration. And one said, what if we don't make it? What's the next plan? And I took her hand and I pretended to walk across a bridge. And I exploded the bridge. And we looked at that bridge and I said, there is no plan B. There's only plan A. We're going this way. We're not turning back. This is the course and we are completing it. What do you have to burn the bridge with? Decision on your body, your business, your money, no plan B. You're going and creating more of it. Your relationship, you got to stop flip-flopping, go back and forth. When it's not right for you, what is it? Where do you have to burn the bridge? And round 5 was to learn that from ash is fertile soil. From ash is fertile soil. Everything in my life in August of 2020 was burnt to ash. My business, my marriage, the anniversary of my mother's death approaching for 1 year, new life without her in it on this earth, and desperation, depletion, grief, wanting to turn back the clock and start over again. But my friend from Ash's fertile soil and an invitation was happening, and I had ignored the whispers and the taps. I didn't know it at the time. I've learned to get real into now. So reinvention in my life is in a place that, ooh wee. I just came back from a 90s dance party last night. It was so fun. It was so fun. I have the best friends anyone could ever imagine. Like I look at my friends and I'm like, how did I get so lucky? I've had experiences and growth moments and victories and witnessing of miracles consistently now because I went through the freaking burning down. I don't recommend it, but I will tell you if it happens for you from ash is fertile soil. You have to turn the page. You have to turn the page, my friend. Stop sitting in the what could have been, what you wanted it to be like, what it should have, or you could have, or you would have, because we didn't. And so when you look at Hawking's energetic vibrational scale of emotions, it talks a lot about the resonance of energy through your emotions. Do you know that you live in the third dimension, your body? It's a slow vibration. All our tangible things here. But you also live in the fourth dimension. The fourth dimension is your emotions. You can change sadness to happiness like that. Watch a toddler do it. Pay attention to yourself even sometimes. Sometimes we get stuck and our vibration is low. But this is evidence that you are in that fourth dimensional space between both. And when you sit in guilt, in shame, and regret, you are anchoring in this physical resonance to that energetic vibration. But when you allow yourself grace to turn the page, because I'm going to tell you right now, God, source, divine, whatever you call it, they're not condemning you. They're observing. It's just like, oh, look at that. That's interesting. This is learning moments. This is all learning moments. This is all for your soul to experience contrast. Yeah. You don't have to experience much contrast once you get really conscious. That's a beautiful thing. But while we're doing it, it's a gift to us. And so the first place to really raise up your energetic vibration is to go into acceptance. And I am telling you something that I keep having to remind myself. Roya, just go into acceptance. Accept what is. Turn the page. In 2015, I was in a meditative state at a Tony Robbins event, and I was sitting in a chair, and all of a sudden, in my face was like an angry father. And that voice said, "Why do you keep doubting me?" See, he had given me a message a couple months before, and I was like, "Am I enough? Can I do that? What? Seems really big." All the self-doubt stuff. And then he went on to say, "I did not make my children to feel guilty. When you feel guilt, you block me out. I cannot do my work when you feel guilt." I'm going to say that again. Because guilt and shame is a vibration in humanity that controls us from receiving our blessings. I did not make my children to feel guilty. When you feel guilt, you block me out. I cannot do my work when you feel guilt. When you understand the energetic vibration, guilt and shame is super low resonance. Acceptance jumps way up to like a 350. Then you're right at the edge of love and town bliss, where we want to get to. This is where divine energy can meet us. When we stay down here, we're begging, we're desperate, we wish, and things aren't changing. Why? It starts and ends inside of you. You connected to you, all things inside of you resonating to the entire universe, to all of source inside of you, waiting for you to raise yourself up, to allow it. The enoughness has already been gifted inside of you because you are, because you exist to meet it for your blessing. So I hope today you've gotten a few nuggets to allow you in your own process to know what trail to start in, to allow the journey and perhaps love it too, to know that life is grand and big and available, not just for him or her or them, but for you, and to understand that you didn't mess up and you're not behind, and you are supposed to be imperfect and you're not supposed to stay there. So, my friends, perhaps today was your whisper for change. Go out and be blessed. Bye for now. I'm Roya Mattis.